Hey everybody, and welcome back. Well, not much to tell you because it's well, you can see I've got a different t-shirt on, so you know it's not immediately after the end of the last video, but I finished that one sort of last thing yesterday and I'm out first thing this morning, so nothing much happened apart from me moving. I got the tree people. We had one big pine tree that was dying off. The branches were dying higher and higher, and while they were there I said, here, you know, because they're contract workers, but this crew, there's like 4 of them. The chap owns a logging business, so nice contract for him, I suppose. Anyway, I said, you know, while it's quiet, can you take this tree down for me? So they did that, and then I put the forks on the tractor and picked all the bits up and put them out of the way in the woods. So that's all that happened. Totally uninteresting. So let's carry on doing the front forks and get this stem made. Alright, what I did do was I put the bottom race in here. And I also took the stem out. As I say, it's just a nice tight fit in the bottom, and I took just a couple of thou off there. You only need it to be the right fit for the bearing down here and wherever it needs to be at the top. The rest of it you can thin slightly so that you don't have to drive the bearing all the way down. You sort of only need to be able to get it past the first bit, and then it should just drop down and then be the right fit down there. So I did that. Can I reach the pen? Yeah, I thought I was going to put everything. Okay, so there's that. And that goes in there. And that goes on there. Now this is where the thread starts, right? Because there's one of those big star sort of shaped nuts that goes on there to hold this all in place, and then this part here is the right size to go into the top yoke and to get the pinch bolt to fasten it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to graft the top of this piece onto there. Well, we're going to weld it on. So we need to know where the threads start, alright? Because that's our first measurement mark. Alright. Top of my pen, I keep forgetting to do that, and then they dry out and another one's useless. So what we're going to do now, as you can see, it wasn't that much shorter. Look at that. If that had been half an inch longer even. Actually, was that long enough? Don't tell me I cut that off. Oh no, I don't know why we cut it off. Because of this bottom. I couldn't take off enough here with it being flared out. If it had been solid at the bottom we could have done it, but with it being flared out we only had the thickness of the wall there, and I had to take too much of that off, so it would have been weak. Alright, so we know that's got to be about there like that. So I'll mark where I'm going to cut this off. We'll cut this off and then we'll make a little sleeve in between the two. I think what I'll do is I'll put this in the lathe and I'll turn this the right size for the bearing before we do the welding. It'll make it easier. Then we'll put that on there. Or we'll put that on there. Weld that up, and then that'll be this job finished. Okay, so let me go and do some sawing and then we'll do a bit of welding. So we've moved along a stage. That's the bottom bit, that's where the bearing goes up to. there is the top bit, and here's the piece that's going to join them. Now these two are different IDs, so that one is going to be a really tight fit in there, and what I'm going to do to try help keep this all straight, I've chamfered these edges by the way, so I'm going to get that in there good and tight, and then I'm going to turn this down to the 770 or something that will fit in there with this in the lathe, so that I'm keeping that straight. And then we'll put those two together, lay it in a piece of angle or something to make sure it's straight, get it tacked, and then weld it up. So let me get that pressed into there, and we'll go from there. So there's the top part with the threaded bit in. There's that now turned down to what should fit into the other tube, and as I say, I did it that way so I could try and keep this concentric as possible. So this should go on there now as another tightish fit. Actually, that might be, I think that's too tight. So we'll take another thou or so off. Yeah, it's just scratching. I'm not even sure that this isn't particularly good tube actually. So the inside might not be perfect. There might be some bits in there. I'll see if I can run a little flapper thing down there, just in case there's any bits sticking up. Well, I've run a 3/4 inch flat wheel up the centre of that to clean it up, and I took another 1 thou off. Quite right, isn't it? I wonder if that'll just press on. Let me go and try that. Alright, this is a good workout for my biceps. Oh yeah, that's going on nicely. There we go. There it is, and there's our nice chamfer to fill up with weld. Now what I'm going to do is put this in the bottom yoke, and we'll try it before I weld it up. Alright, let's see if the micro measurements actually worked. Okie doke, everything seems to line up. Let me go and weld that there and weld this into the bottom of here. Got to find a bolt that goes in there, but that's all. But now we actually do something I thought of and I had a quick look at. A little problem we do have, but my brain was feverishly working on a solution last night. So, can I see everything? Yes. There's where the bottom yoke goes, there's where the top yoke goes. Right. Now obviously that will go up there, but what that does, of course, is reduces how much fork movement we've got. Oh, yes it does, in a way. So what I'm thinking of doing is making an extension for the top of these. Well, it does bring the fork further up. So I'm thinking of making an extension to go on this. Yeah, you see, as I bring that up to there, it's bringing the front wheel up. So relative to the front wheel, the frame is dropping, so I don't want to do that. Maybe we've got to look at it, put a fork together to see, because the thing I'm planning is not a permanent, what I'm planning to do, I might as well tell you, is I've got a couple of old ones of these, is we'll turn the flats off. We drill a nice big hole through there, and then we make an extension piece which will be 2 different diameters, so it pushes into there, extends this up an inch. We'll weld it in, then we can drill it and tap it again for the damper rod, and that will screw right into there and stick up into here. We'll make it that 35mm. And one thing is that there isn't a lot of stress put on this top one. If you think about bicycle forks, or if you think about an aerial leader, they don't even have a top yoke as such. The forks stop at the bottom yoke. So this isn't, you know, I mean, you wouldn't want this type of fork just in there like that. The bicycle forks and everything are welded into there. But this takes all the stresses more than that does. So that's the way they extend forks all the time. As long as you've got it going in there a good way, which we do, it'll be quite strong enough. So anyway, let me get this at least welded up, and we'll look at the next problem after we've solved this one. Alright then. So there's that welded up. There's that welded up. Nice. I think I need one more thread. Huh? Just seemed to be a little bit of vertical play in that. Ah, there we go. Right, now I'll need one big washer because that stem sticks up slightly. Or of course I could put one underneath. But a big one would be good there. Now, I've seen one of those type of bolts. Generally the ones put on the Japanese bikes, the head of the bolt is dished because they're, you know, like a large head. Let me have a little search around. Right, I've just been out to look at one of the B44 frames I've got that has that pair of forks I thought I was going to get, and I measured from there to there, and it's 6 inches. The yokes are similar. Let me have a look. Bottom yoke is 1 1/8 inches. I mean, they're virtually the same. So, oh, I just got a text, which I don't read. So, what was I saying? What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I measured from there to there and it's 6 inches. And this is 7. So I need the forks. Yeah, I don't want to have the bottom yoke further down the forks. It's reducing the amount of space between the mudguard and here, and no, we'll extend them an inch. It won't do any problem and it'll be an interesting little job. I'm going to have to do something with that stop. That isn't quite all the way around. I might be able to cut into there a little bit without it doing any harm. Oh, actually that digs down. I can just ease a little bit off there and they'll swing further on. Alright, so we've got to make our extension an inch. So let me see if I've got any stock, because what I need is some steel that's 35mm, and then we can make it fit into that that big bolt thing. Stage 1. There's our old top nut, top bolt, whatever you want to call it, with a 5/8 inch hole drilled through it. 2 inches of 1.5 inches. Now 1.5 inches is about 38mm. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn just under 1 inch of this down to 5/8, and then when that's in there tight and welded in at the end, we're going to screw it into a fork leg, put the fork leg into the lathe, then we're going to turn this down to 35mm, and that way we're going to keep it straight with the fork leg. Alright, so let me turn that down to size. Phases 2 and 3. Got the fork tube in here. Thought I might as well put that piece on and it'll all be the right size. So that is now welded into there. Come on now. Why the hell won't that go in there? Don't tell me. BSA Triumph have some different ones because I have to have 2 blooming. But that, see, that's come out of the other BSA one. So why won't this one? Oh Lord above. Here's the other tube out of that pair. Okay, let me look into this further. I had to get the boring bar out and take the first thread off. That's what was damaged. Well, the other cap's screwed in, so I don't see why this one. There we go. Look at that, the flats are just fractionally less than the 35mm I want. Alright, so as I say now, I'll turn this down to 35 and we'll know that it's all concentric with the fork. So let me do that and then we'll try the top yoke onto it. So I've turned that down. The little gap here, I left that, I'm going to fill that up with bronze. just to make it completely rigid. But I was just gonna, well, I suppose I could turn the edges off. And it just struck me, the flats, because I need the flats, because this has got to be screwed into here. And I was wondering how I was going to do that. So I've maybe gone a thou or two over where I want it to be, because this is a nice slit fit. But I just checked it and, well, I'll show you. Show you everything. That's hardly put any pressure on. Of course, this is all right. So yeah, I'll just take the edges off those flats. I can still get a nice spanner on there. And then I've got to take it out and drill that hole in the centre. But we can hold it on this to drill into there and tap it. It's 5/16 BSC. Tap that, and then that is everything ready. And then we just do another one. And penultimate stage, drilled and tapped. And my 5/16 BSC tap is blunt. That was squeaking. So the very last stage, as I say, I'll fill that in there. Just flow some stuff into that, and then that will be perfect. Just out of interest, let's go and check it on the bike. Well, I couldn't find a big bolt to go in there, so probably be able to get one at Mike's. He has all sorts of bits of bike laid about, so there's that on there. Oh, that's a bit tight. There is some paint in there, I think. Ooh. There we go. Oh. And then that will be on there, and this will come up, go into there like that. We're right on the correct part. Oh yes. And look, that just fits up there. It even looks like it should be there. I might put a bit of rubber tube or something. If I can get some in the right size, just to slide onto that. Alright. That will do me for today. Okay, so we have another one of those to make, and then we're just waiting for bits to come to finish building the forks. Then we can put them in, put them together. I've actually, as things like welding's been cool, and I've been bead blasting. Well, actually, I changed the media over to the rough stuff. I've done the two fork legs, and I've more or less done the swinging arm as well. So I'm going to give them a coat of just aerosol primer to seal them up while I'm finishing off, and then when we paint the frame, we'll paint them properly. There's the, hang on, I'm going to pick you up, get ready. There's the grey that they were. Was that grey, and then they changed to the hammerite silvery colour, and that is hard. The fork legs with the black diamond abrasive blasted easily, but the swinging arm, man, that was constantly going back over and over and over. Anyway, as I say, we'll leave that for today, so see you tomorrow. Alright, well, time for some workshop. Been trundling around the tractor picking things up, trying to get a tree service to come, because if those of you who watch the video, I have some huge limbs sort of hanging from the trees, so I'm not going to try and get them. Anyway, I'm going to build the forks. The fork seals came, I've already put one in, but the little rubber things for the end, British Cycle Supply didn't have them, and Peter Quick didn't have them either, so for the moment I'm loath to send halfway across the US to get 2 little rubber washers. So I've got my book out to make sure I don't forget anything. Okay, so let's see what we have got. So as I say with these, because it gets thicker at the end, we're going to put everything on from this end. So the first thing to go on is the oil seal holder. As I say, I've already put a seal in, so let's put a drop of oil on that. So where are we? That's the top. So this is going to go in. Hang on, let me take my glasses off so I can see close to. Let's get that. Oil seal. Right, so that goes on first. Then, funnily enough, this goes on with its O-ring, and when you look in the parts book, it's got it going on that way up. But it doesn't. It goes on that way because that flat surface touches against, hang on. But actually this parts book has got some of the numbers in the wrong places as well, so. See, that oil seal is in there like that with the seal part downwards. They say you put it in like that, but you don't. You put it in like that. So as you can see, it matches up. And of course, that also means that this will fit down inside of there instead of sticking up like that. So that's the next thing we'll put in. So that now drops down inside there very nicely. The other thing, of course, is if you put it in the other way around, you wouldn't have any threads showing, because that would block off access to the threads. Now the next thing we put on is this bush, and what I've already done with this bush, this was a dodge that Charlie Prescott mentioned a while ago, which is the fork movement is controlled by that, or should I say it's restricted by how far that can travel up, so it touches that. So apparently what they used to do was you cut some off this. So I've taken 1/2 inch off that and redone the chamfer to allow the fork to have another 1/2 inch of travel. So that's the next thing we put on. Goes on like that. Right, then we put this on. This has a little lip in one end, so it'll only go on one way. If it goes on at all. Come on now. Clean the inside of that. Let me see if it's developed a little lip. Hang on, I'll just turn you off for a moment. Right, well, I forgot to press the record button there on the first fork leg when I got to this point, so you didn't see me finish it off. So I'll show you this one. So we've got the bushes on, got all that right. So the next thing that goes on, oh, I forgot to put that thing in. Then that goes on. Then that goes on with the lip at the top. Then that goes on. Then, what have I done with it? Oh. There's the bit, oh, there it is. Piece with the, make sure it's got its washer, and that screws on there like that. Okay, so that's done as far as that goes. So the next thing we do is we put the damper thing in. And the damper thing has got a little slot in the end. And I think it catches on this drain bolt here, because when you look down you see a little what looks like a pin sticking out. So you put that in, catch it on that pin, which is easier than it sounds. Let me check that it is that and not something else that they have in the bottom. No, I think it's a pin that they actually have in the bottom, so it's at 12 o'clock there. They maybe make it as, although it is in the right place for that. So we put that in. And then it catches on that pin, and that holds it while we put our Allen bolt into the bottom. And that holds the damper rod in place while you tighten that up. Then, say we won't mess around with a bit of string like the BSA manual says, we'll put some more modern sealant on it. Does have an oil seal and that O-ring, so shouldn't really. Then this goes down there. To there. That goes in. As you see, that fits in there with its O-ring. Everything's getting clarted up. How do these people on other YouTube channels rebuild things and they never seem to get any dirt anywhere? You notice that? The BSA fork tool in the BSA drawer, and this will fit, won't it, because isn't this the short Come on, where's the... Have I taken this out of frame now? Wouldn't surprise me. Oh, what is it? Don't tell me. I feel it. That's good. When we do the final build up, I can put this in the vise. That's it. Get all that clot off. Oh, man. Right, then the last thing is get the damper rod out. Why is that up there? That should be sticky. I can see it down there. There it is. So you see, I can put the rubber on that easily enough. Then the last thing is this piece. I did the bronzing, so that's going to screw on there. The lock nut comes up. Now that is going to go in there. Hope you can see all this. I hope I haven't taken it out of the frame. Again, before we finish, I'll put this in the vise to tighten them up. Right, so let's... oh, I didn't put a spring on the other one when I put it. I'll put a spring on this. Okay, hold on. Right, I'll show you this. It's just a daft little tip. I've had these springs soaking. So, how do you clean inside and all around the spring? Well, you put a piece of cloth in the vise to hold it like that. And then you get it in there. And there we go. You just start winding the spring. And you see the cloth is, or you can do it this way, whichever way you like. The cloth is cleaning the inside of the coil. There you are. In the past, when I've shown a couple of daft little things like this, you know, like putting washers in a spring to help stretch it, I have had comments, people said, yeah, that was clever. So, see, it saves you trying to poke a rag down the centre and you still don't really get the coils, but that gets right in and does it all for you. Okay, so let me get some of this muck off my finger so I can press the button on the camera without getting the camera messy. There, as you can see, I put the other fork leg went in when I'd forgotten to put the camera on record. So, and I'd forgot to put a spring in it. So this goes up into there now like that. You know what? I'm going to have to fasten the back end of that up. Hold on again. There, I put a strap over the back end of the frame. That hopefully will be alright. It goes up in there. Oh, I did have a 14mm spanner here. What have I done with it? Bugger! I must have put it away. Does that fit that? No, it doesn't. Hang on. Stay. 14mm. All go here, isn't it? Alright, so that goes in, just sticks up at the top. And we tighten that. Alright, let me put the spring on the other side. So there's both forks in. And as much as I can get done today, I've still got to go out and do stuff. I should be able to get on Saturday, and then what we'll do, I think, is see about fitting the front wheel. I've given the swing an armour coat of paint as well, same as I did the forks, just, you know, it's easier to clean them than if they were just blasted. So I've got to get a top nut for there. At the moment I've just got it clamped up with that. I need a longish bolt for there. That's not bad. Well, they worked out all right. Okay, so until Saturday, you just do something. Hello to Saturday morning. Alright, folks, take them out the frame. Just been outside and measured from there to sort of the centre of the wheel spindle on a pair that's in a bike, and there's a little bit of weight on them. It was 22 inches. It's 22 and a quarter on this, so we're good for getting the amount of movement here the same as on the original bike. Now the other thing that's nice, turns out, is centre to centre across here. It's the same on these yokes as on the BSA yokes. So consequently, this wheel spindle fits. So, it's a pretty worn wheel spindle. So what I'm going to do is turn this down to fit into the front wheel. And that way, it's the right size here to clamp up. Now here, we're going to have to do something, because that's just too big to go through the wheel bearings. Unless I can get another size wheel bearing. Alright, let's see what we got for wheel bearings. Right, so it's time for the dreaded measuring. Okay, the bearings in this hub are 6301s, which are, hang on, I've written it down here, 12mm ID, 37mm OD. Now this of course is a lot bigger than that. In fact, the narrowest bit, which is the threaded bit, is just over 14. Next bit is 17.3. The big bit is 22. So I've just had a look, and there's a couple of other bearings with a 37mm OD, right? So they would fit in the hub, but with different size IDs. But the bigger the ID you get, the narrower the bearing is. But you could always put two bearings in. So the two sizes are, let me look in my book, hang on. You keep hearing me mention McMaster-Carr. I normally go online with them, but there is their book when they do produce a book. See, and it's just like that. So let's have a look, see. So there's where are they? 6301, 12 by 37 by 12. So the next one with a 37 OD, so it'll fit in the hub, is a 25mm ID, 7mm thick. So I could basically put two of them in. I could double up. Then there is another one, I think. There's 37, which is 20mm ID. That's 9mm thick. And there isn't another 37. So, where was that other one? 25. So actually, that's only 22. So we'd have to use the 20mm one. But then you see, that's only 17. So, 12mm. I rummaged around, I found another wheel spindle, but that one is 15 near enough, 14.8. Okay, so first of all, anyway, let's get our measurements. What we're going to do is we're going to get the wheel centered in the forks and then see how much we need in the way spacers each side for there. Right, so let me go and get the what do you call them, caliper things. Right then, so measured from there to there, measured the width of the rim, deducted that from that, and then halved the result, and that's how much there should be on either side. 1.360 inches. Made up a little spacing piece. Actually, I have to move the forks because the wheel is clamped. .360 that side. .360. It's very slightly different. I mean, a few thou. So we'll just make it a tight fit both sides. Okay. Alright, well, I may have just done some lathe work in error. It struck me I should do this side because the big this part is going to be turned to go up against it. But then when I'd made the piece, so I made a piece here, you see, to go in, so that goes up against the seal, just butts up on the inner race of the bearing, so that's fine. And then I suddenly remembered that the TY wheel goes in with the brake plate on the left, not on the right. So I may not have made that the right size. Let's see. Put this up on a better plate here instead of on that. Now then, where's my my measuring piece? Yeah, that it needs to be. I could have made that bigger, and I had a bigger piece of stock as well. Well, I've got to make a piece somehow to go into here. So I might make the piece. Oh, bugger! It hasn't done that for a while, has it? Now I think about it, I can make the piece, the sleeve piece. I've got to put. Oh. I was going to say I can make it permanent, but of course I've got to be able to get in. Well, I could make it permanent and then drill into it, but it's all making work, isn't it? I'll think of something. Anyway, that'll hold that in there. That'll give us a better thing to measure off anyway. That's so well, yeah, I could have made that to come up to here. Anyway, we're that's how it should be. So I think what I'll do is we'll do our experimental turning of this, because I can measure how much I need on the other side now. Actually, it's better with the brake plate because that gives me a much. So what I'm going to do with this is put it in the lathe. It's already got centre holes at each end, so we'll clean this up so that it fits better. That's just sort of an in-between size. It's not big enough for me to say, okay, I'll make a piece that's threaded like that to screw in with a hole through the centre for the 12mm. See, that would be too narrow. As I say, that's only 14, so that would only give me, well, it would give me a millimetre on each side. Here we are, set them in the lathe, and I think I've decided what I'm going to do. Normally, you know, this has got, well, you can't see, it's got a hole in it for a Tommy bar. So that we would have so much sticking out of the left hand fork leg, and to the inside of the fork leg would be to this mark here. But what I'm going to do, because this is a pinch up fork leg, is I'm going to put this in so it goes all the way into the fork, which is to that thing. Then you see, when you put the pinch up, that's going to clamp this wheel spindle. It's going to make it long enough so it's going to stick out, because normally this just threads up to the end of the fork leg. We're going to make it long enough now so that that will stick out and we can thread that end, because we don't really need to hold that end to tighten this nut, because once we clamp the pinch bolt up, that'll hold it. And we'll drill it and put a split pin in. So what I'm going to do is we'll start with a thick bit. I'll take this down to that, and then we'll take it all down to this, and then we'll finish off to, oh, noisy. We'll finish off to 12mm, and then that should be long enough to fit right. No. Oh, nearly slipped up. That, I mean, I can put a spacing piece in, but I need that to be longer done to touch the brake. So let me measure that and go and put another mark on there. Nearly screwed up again. Alright, now I'm right. Black mark is enough to fit up against the brake plate. So that is not only the wheel spindle end that's going to be clamped up, but it's sort of got a built-in spacing piece to come out to the brake plate. So let me turn this. Now I've taken it down so I'm just touching the threads. It's a bit hot, so I'm going to let it cool down. But I just had a quick measure. It's 13.47 both ends, which is nice. So I've got everything straight. So that's 1.47 millimeters to take off, which is what, 1.5 millimeters is 60 thou. So I think I've got a 12mm nut that was on one of these wheel spindles in a drawer over here. If I have, I've got a 12mm die we could put the thread on. Right, that's got it started. Oh, I'm going to get my arm in the way here. See, we've started to spin again. Oh, would you believe it? Come on. Anyway, I'm going to thread this. Alright, last job for the week. There's the wheel spindle. So, got our spacer in there. Get up on this. In there. The fork's a little straighter. That is going to go. Come on now. Nice fit in the bearings. Actually, a bit of a tight fit in the bearings. Then I've got to get it up onto this piece here. Actually, I should have shown you this from the other side. So, let me get my little spacing piece. Alright, we need to go in more. There we go. That looked tight to there. It's just right there. That's just right there. I could shorten that, you put a bit more thread on and shorten this. That will tighten up there, so hang on, let me move you around. So there you can see with this piece in nice and flush, that gives us the right spacing up to the brake plate. And oh, hang on, was stuck here. Oh, that's what was hanging us up. So the brake plate's fine. See, then we put our clamp bolt in, and that'll hold that spindle while we tighten the nut on the other side. And we just right the wheels in the centre. So let me pull you out. Hold on. So the wheel's centred in the forks. Then we've got to bring that round. Oh, I don't believe it. I think that's going to line up with the mounting. Excellent. So as I say, that's it for this week. So next week we'll make a spacing piece, the sleeve come spacing piece to go in the other side. And then we'll make the bushes for the swinging arm. Get the swinging arm in, get the back wheel in. I still have to clean them up, so I'm not going to put, the tyres are ordered. Then we'll chock everything up till it's the right height. And I can see how long I want the rear suspension units to be, and then I'll order those. And then we can start looking to fit in the engine. So anyway, that's it for this week. Exciting week, what with the gales and everything. So until next week, stay safe and enjoy yourselves.